Once upon a time, in the heart of Hawaii, a young boy named Robert was raised by two very different fathers. One was his real dad, a well-educated man with a PhD. He had a steady job, a strong work ethic, and believed in climbing the corporate ladder. Robert called him "Poor Dad." The other was his best friend's father, a high school dropout who owned multiple businesses and became one of the wealthiest men in the state. Robert called him "Rich Dad." Both loved him. Both guided him. But their advice couldn't have been more different. Poor Dad said, "Go to school, get good grades, find a secure job." Rich Dad said, "Learn how money works. Don't just work for it, make it work for you." At just 9 years old, Robert stood at a crossroads. Two dads. Two mindsets. One life-changing choice. Curious and eager, Robert asked Rich Dad, "Can you teach me how to be rich?" And so the lessons began. Rich Dad gave Robert and his friend Mike a simple job, working for him in one of his convenience stores for just a few cents an hour. When Robert complained about the low pay, Rich Dad smiled and said, "That's your first lesson. The poor work for money. The rich make money work for them." From that moment on, Robert began to see the world differently. He realized that most people are trapped, stuck in the rat race, working hard but never building real wealth. One afternoon, Rich Dad handed Robert a piece of paper. On it were two columns, assets and liabilities. He said, "This is the secret. The rich buy assets. Everyone else buys liabilities thinking they're assets." Robert learned. White heavy checkmark an asset is anything that puts money into your pocket. Crossmark a liability takes money out. A rental property? Asset. A new car bought on credit? Liability. The wealthy grow their income by collecting assets. The poor collect expenses and debt. Robert's poor dad had a master's degree, read every day, and valued traditional education above all. But Rich Dad taught a different kind of education, one never taught in schools. Financial education. He said, "It's not how much money you make. It's how much you keep, and how you make it grow." Robert began studying how money flows, how taxes work, and how businesses operate. He realized most people work for money, but never learn how to manage it. And because of that, they stay stuck forever. As Robert grew older, he saw his poor dad switch jobs often, always chasing better pay. Meanwhile, Rich Dad encouraged him to work not for money, but for skills. He said, "Learn how to sell. Learn how to market. Learn how to invest. The more skills you have, the more control you have." Robert followed that advice. He worked in sales, studied investing, started businesses, and failed many times. But every failure was a lesson. Every lesson was an asset. At the core of everything Rich Dad taught was mindset. Poor Dad saw the world through fear. "We can't afford that. What if I fail?" Rich Dad flipped the script. "How can we afford it? What can I learn if I fail?" He believed that wealth starts not with money, but with how you think about money. Years later, Robert became financially free, not because of luck, inheritance, or a high-paying job, but because of what Rich Dad taught him: buy assets. Educate yourself. Think differently. And never stop learning. The book Rich Dad, Poor Dad isn't just about getting rich. It's about building a life where you control your time, your choices, and your future. So ask yourself, which dad are you listening to?